Allen's been such a big part of that, an underrated part of that, as Mitchell now gets to the foul line. He'll scoop it off the backboard to himself. Do you believe that? Donovan Mitchell with a circuit shot has given the Cavaliers. Comes off a screen. Whoa! Sam Merrill, talk about not being afraid to fire from anywhere. Sammy Merrill with a three.
Becoming one of the best two-man games in the league.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are currently the hottest team in the Eastern Conference at 34-16, finishing 11-2 in January and currently undefeated this month at 5-0. Their 18-14 record by the end of December seems disappointing, but they lost Evan Mobley on December 6th to a knee injury, along with Darius Garland, who broke his jaw on December 14th versus the Celtics. With 26 games played for Garland and 27 for Mobley, the Cavs were able to not just weather the storm, but come out blazing as guys returned. Bringing more shooting to help space the floor was definitely an offseason priority for them after the disappointing first-round exit last year, and while guys like Max Strus and Georges Niang have been really streaky shooting the ball, leaving them open like teams were doing with Isaac Okoro just isn't a good idea. And even Okoro's improved from 36% last year to 39% with the same number of attempts so far. You pair that improvement with his already established defensive ability, and you have yourself another guy that can help you win games. You have Dean Wade, who at 6'9" is shooting 40% from 3, which helps a ton with rotations where they don't want to give up size while still having good spacing, but Dean Wade's also very mobile and really holds his own defensively, guarding multiple positions in different scenarios while also being in the right place at the right time as often as possible. But speaking of shooting, someone I was very high on after watching him go off in Summer League was Sam Merrill. There's no shot this guy's scared to take, and having that type of confidence is part of the equation, but making those shots at elite efficiency is what makes him a problem I don't hear a lot of people talking about. He leads the team at 44% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game, and he's an exhausting player to chase around the court as he maneuvers around screens before ultimately catching and shooting with a ridiculously quick release, and doesn't need much space to get a shot off either. And while he was on the Cavs last season, this is the year he's made a name for himself. There's also Georges Niang, who won't let a closeout stop him from putting the ball down to find more options. One of those role players who takes what the defense gives him and makes up for his lack of athleticism with just knowing how to play the game. So defending the Cavs has become a much more complicated task because there's just a lot more going on for opposing teams to figure out. I mentioned earlier how Mobley and Garland were out for long stretches of games, which forced the Cavs to figure things out in their absence, and in turn has changed their brand of basketball, seemingly for the better. A huge development that opposing defenses should also be very concerned about is Evan Mobley's recent shooting from 3. He's currently sitting on 41.2% for the season, which is something he mentioned working on a ton in a recent interview. He's averaging a career high in free throw percentage, which is up from 67.4 to 78.5%. He's at a career high in rebounds so far at 10.2, and his field goal percentage is at its highest so far at 58.6. Not only will his shooting development take him to the next level as a player, but it raises the Cavs' ceiling in the process tremendously. Double big lineups are not something a lot of teams are fond of, unless of course one of those bigs can space the floor, which is exactly what Mobley's bringing to the table to make Jarrett Allen more of a threat than he already is, whether Allen's in pick and rolls or in the dunker spot, and this makes the Cavs' offensive possessions a nightmare to defend. Let's look at this play, where we see Garland with the ball in his hands, staying in front of him while also respecting the shot is problem number 1 for a defender. Allen sets a ghost screen before diving down hard, which causes Kevin Huerter to leave Strus in the corner to come over to help. The rest of the Kings are collapsing on Garland, who, if you look at this shot map, is in a very high percentage area for himself. Garland makes the right read, but Strus misses the shot. Garland then grabs the board, and it's back to square one. Allen comes over to set a screen before catching the pass, and with Herter in his way, the Kings collapse again. Allen makes the quick pass to Strus, who apparently prefers a contested three and makes it this time. I talked about the general thought of having two bigs on offense, but here's what makes them unique on defense. Here's one where both Allen and Mobley are guarding high at the three-point line. Allen gets blown by, but Mobley was able to get close enough for a good contest with those long arms to force the miss. Here's a perfect example of why Cleveland's double big lineup is effective on both ends. They see a mismatch down low for Jarrett Allen on Fox, along with great spacing by everyone else around him. Fox does what Fox does and gets a hand on the pass to force the turnover. Now, under normal circumstances, a team's main rim protector losing the ball in the post means that it's off to the races for a nice 4-on-5 with potentially a good look at the basket. But Mobley was there to stop the Sabonis drive before quickly contesting Barnes for the stop. Meanwhile, it's hard to even find Jarrett Allen in the picture, who's still getting back on defense. The Cavs don't just have shooters on the floor, these are guys that will move with or without the ball to find ways to make things happen. Here we see Max Strus playing a two-man game with Jarrett Allen, using him to create space in the process before finishing with the reverse layup. I talked about the difficulty of staying in front of Garland while respecting the shot, with his ability to play in pick and rolls, and I haven't even mentioned Donovan Mitchell, who poses that problem to an even bigger degree. As someone that can just take over games by himself at times, he demands a ridiculous amount of attention from opposing defenses. He's unbothered by contested shots, as he doesn't need much airspace to feel comfortable. His handle and quickness constantly shakes defenders out of the way, forcing help defenders to come over because of his incredible finishing ability, and with his strength, he's able to throw some laser beam passes to open teammates for shots as well. Guarding a Donovan Mitchell pick and roll with Mobley or Allen is nearly impossible to stop, thanks to Mitchell's ability to shoot on the move or make the quick pass on the rolls. You have Mitchell's gravity, Jarrett Allen or Evan Mobley with their own gravity as a lob threat when they roll, or a shot option if Mobley is picking and popping. Oh yeah, if you struggle to guard those pick and rolls, where are you sending help from? Because you'll be leaving some snipers wide open in the process. Here are some numbers over the last 15 games. The Cavs are 6th in offensive rating at 119.4 and hold the league's best defensive rating at 105.1. They're 8th in three-point percentage at 38%, while taking the second most threes at 39.6 per game in that stretch. There's a lot to be excited for if you're a Cavs fan hoping to see a better run than last year in the playoffs, and with how amazing they've looked so far, considering the rough start they had, they've become an interesting team to look out for as we head into the All-Star break. Thanks for watching this video. This is the All Things Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.